Welcome back to another episode of the Bearcat Journal Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken. Galactic Fried Chicken can be found in Dayton, Kentucky. They deliver anywhere in the 275 loop. Give them a call. You can place your order. You can go in. Either one of those ways, tell them to pump it up, save yourself 15%. Or go to www.galacticfriedchicken.com, download the app for Android, iPhone, and everything Galactic. Be sure to check out that sauce because, like I always say, it's out of this world. All right, so obviously that wasn't Chad giving the intro, it was me, and we do have Keegan with us tonight. Chad's being a dad. Keegan has been crushing the beat of late. You've been to every practice, all but one?
No, I've been to every practice.
Every practice at Higher Ground at Nippert. Practice today was closed to the media, but you get back after it tomorrow, or are they off tomorrow?
Back after it tomorrow and Saturday, off Sunday.
Saturday will be, of course, the scrimmage at Nippert. We're all looking forward to that, to see what the ones and twos actually look like in a simulated game type experience. First time since really spring practice, or the spring game rather. So definitely looking to see some improvement on both sides of the ball there. But before we get into what you've seen at camp, I want to give you a shout out, sir, because like I said, you've been crushing it on the beat, and it's not just been camp. You had some really good stories come out here this past couple days as you got to cover Sauce Gardner and his graduation, along with the legendary, I feel like you can say that now, it's been like, 30 years since 1992?
Yeah.
And the legendary Nick Van Exel and his graduation, as he had tried it. I didn't even know until reading your article that he had tried to go back to school numerous times, and he finally gets the degree. Obviously, that was something that had been a point of contention as he was interviewing for some jobs, or even being mentioned for some jobs. And when you're trying to go coach college kids and you don't have that piece of paper, it looks a little different. So what was that experience like, getting to cover those graduations?
Yeah, before we get into that, and I want to ask you this because I was curious when I was writing the article about needing that degree. Is that something that a school wouldn't hire him for, or would it just be like, hey, you're enrolled in these classes, you got B's, you graduated?
So I think it's one of those unspoken things, because again, it's hard to be a guy. Imagine it. You're a player and coach is trying to talk about graduation rates or trying to get your grades up or going to class, and you're like, what about you, coach? You didn't even finish.
Yeah, which that's what Nick said. He was like, when I was here, we didn't worry about academics. We had fun on campus and we played basketball and we went to Final Fours.
The 90s were very different. As somebody who did not experience it in yourself, I did. I lived through the 90s. I remember what it's like to only have a phone connected to the wall, and that's the only phone that you have. But everything was different. There weren't cameras everywhere. It was a different time.
But what was your question about the articles again?
What was it like getting to cover these guys, getting to cover their graduations, and what was that experience like for you?
Oh, it was awesome. It's a really special thing because a lot of these times when you're interviewing these guys, it's after games, maybe after practices, and it's very sports centered. It's very, what are you doing this week? How was it today? What are you going to work on next week? But this is like lifelong dreams that these guys have realized that they're actually accomplishing. And it's something that they're very proud of. Their families are proud of. I think my favorite thing about Sauce was him talking about how important it was to his mother, and that he kind of made a promise to his mom when he enrolled in college that he was going to leave with a degree. It wasn't really something that he kind of just decided to go back and do. He was always really determined to get that degree when he enrolled at Cincinnati. And then I talked to his high school coach, Ty Spence, and he talked about how much of an impact that's having on the people in the Detroit area and the Detroit King High School, because we all know like how proud Sauce is of where he's from.
Sure.
And there's not a lot of people from Detroit that would say that. but he's showing up for those people. He's trying to set an example, and he's setting a trend, even though that might not be his intention to kind of be this like stand up. I'm this really, really good guy who did this really good thing. You all should be like me. It's kind of just being like, he wants to set the standard that getting a degree is good and that you shouldn't really overlook it. For Nick Van Exel, I think, I talked a decent amount in the article about the potential coaching like implications that this has, and how he was up for the job at Cincinnati the last 2 times it was open. 19 was more of, what is it if Kenyon Martin doesn't make that tweet that they should hire him? It might not have been near as much, but in 21, he openly interviewed for the job, and so did Eric Martin from UC. So Wes Miller's set right now, and he's here, and he's got this program moving in the right direction. But it's hard to envision another opening 5-6 years down the road, and his name isn't possibly up for that job. So now with this degree, it's a complete possibility. But I think, and you could probably talk about this, which I don't even actually know. How old are you?
37.
What year were you born?
38.
Okay. So you probably know more than me, like how good of a player he was. I don't think. Are you looking at
39? Am I 39 now? Jesus. Yeah, 39 now. I don't think I've even said that out loud. I don't think I've said that out loud. I think that's fine.
But I don't think I appreciate Nick Van Exel for how good he was, because I never really saw it. I think what I think about from the days before I was watching UC basketball was Lance Stevenson was there like the first year I started really watching it. Before that, it was Kenyon Martin. Yeah. But he was a really, really good player. Like he was renowned for how good he was, specifically at UC. How much money he made in the NBA, all the different stats.
My first basketball jersey was a Lakers Nick Van Exel.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But yeah, I mean, the 92 team is really tight. Terry Nelson told me they text like every day. So ever since he's been in the NBA, they've been in constant contact. And then the amount of connections he has, which I think coming from Indiana and seeing Mike Woodson kind of navigate the college coaching sphere, you can really take what you get from the NBA and sell that to recruits. Jalen Hood-Schifino came to Indiana because he knew the NBA potential that he had with Mike Woodson coming straight from the NBA to Indiana. And then he's the 13th or 17th overall pick to the Lakers. So having that NBA experience is huge, especially in today's atmosphere where you can get one and dones. So Nick Van Exel having those connections is really, really massive. So I think wherever he goes, I think he could really have a good impact. I think he would be a really good recruiter for how charismatic he is. But it's just like what I said with Sauce, how special that day was. Their families were there. It was just a really big celebration. And just two of really the legends to come through UC athletics.
Now, we've talked about this before the last time you were on, but just to bring it up again, just a stark difference between Cincinnati and Indiana for you on the beat, as you have been gained access now to legit superstars.
Yeah.
In addition to getting to go to every practice.
Yeah.
The whole practice.
Awesome.
I mean, we found out from the Houston guys last night on the BCJ pod, they're only allowed to go to 15 minutes of practice, and I think that's it. And I don't know if that's every day or if that's once a week. I can't recall what he said. I believe it's every day. You can go to 15 minutes of practice, and then Holgerson kicks him out. But
that's so disrespectful. I'd be so pissed off. You're going to make me drive all the way down to practice for 15 minutes and then make me
a waste of everyone's time. I imagine it's probably like the last 15 minutes, right? That way you can do your interviews and everything thereafter. I would hope.
Yeah, I would. I was going to say I would really hope. But give them 45. What are you going to do that's going to make a difference?
Even 30. Like,
yeah.
The whole thing is so absurd to me. But stark difference between here in Indiana, as you're already being exposed to legitimate superstars.
Yeah, I was going through Sauce's Instagram trying to find a thumbnail picture, and I scroll on his graduation posts, and I was in one of his posts. Like, you could see the back half of my head, and I was blurry. But
did you watch Hard Knocks this week to see if you made?
No, I need to, but I don't want to pay for it. But I have to. Like, I have to see it. I don't have a choice. I'll probably actually buy it after we get off and watch it.
There you go.
But yeah, I like I said, if even a quarter inch of my face is in there, I'll pass away.
Well, I look forward to seeing that. If there is one, I look forward to seeing you tweet about it. So getting to actual practice, though, you've been to every practice, and obviously you're writing your write-ups every day, or at least or doing your interviews and posting those videos. One way or the other, you've been involved. Name just, I guess, 3 guys on each side of the ball that you feel, and maybe they're the same, maybe they're different than what Chad's been talking about here of late. Just who stood out to you, maybe even not necessarily like, I don't know, who stood out to where you just find yourself always seeing them and just the plays that they're making?
I think number 1 on offense is Shimon Mateer. Just for how physically imposing he is and the potential that he has. I think he could be a good NFL tight end for his size if he can continue to develop that athletic ability. And then I want to see how he is able to learn this offense and kind of flow in this offense with Emory Jones. But they've had a couple of those like tight end bailout plays that Denbrock did, and Chad talked about it at practice, where it's kind of the roll out or kind of just sit down in the zone, catch it, and then just turn around and run for 15 yards. So Shimon Mateer has been good.
Good luck tackling that guy, right?
Yeah, which he laid a hit on a safety. I think they did like it was the first day of full pads and like full tackling, and he just caught it, took like 4 or 5 steps and bulldozed the safety. And I was like,
Deshaun Pace?
I think it was probably Taj Ward. I don't think he cleared out Deshaun Pace on a block.
Yeah, that was the one Chad talked about in this space.
Yeah. This was, he caught the ball, went like that, and then just went through the safety.
Okay.
The next one, which you talked about, stood out. This is in a very literal sense. Luke Kandra is a massive human being. He's very, very tall, and it doesn't look, his body fat can't be over 9 or 10%. I mean, this is he's huge. He's a huge dude, and he's in really, really good shape. Super mature dude too. Just got engaged, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And
he's also coming off injury, and for him to have his body in that kind of shape coming off an injury is still something to be impressed with.
Yeah, it's just like Braden Smith, the third one, I feel like I have to take a receiver, and he's been more on second team, and it's just because of when he got here. But Xavier Henderson, I think he has the most potential to be the best receiver in this receiver room this season and possibly next season. I'm not completely sure about the remaining years of eligibility. I assume he has like maybe 2 or 3 more years, but he has legit breakaway speed. And his catch radius is very good, and if the ball's in the air, he's got a chance to come down with it. I think that's the most important thing. And Emory Jones loves throwing him fade balls to like the corner of the end zone. And then honorable mention to Aaron Turner, has afterburner speed, legit afterburner speed. He outruns DBs consistently, and I think fans should be really, really excited about what he could bring, even in a limited sample size. Because I mean, Braden Smith has the slot right now, so he's going to take care of that.
Yeah.
Defensively, that's a good one. I think the talk around Jack Dingle is undeniable. Him being like one of the faster players on the team at linebacker. Mm-hmm. Jack Dingle's been really good. Deshaun Pace, I've said it 100 times. I think he's going to have a lot of interceptions and have a really, really, really good season. And then I'm going to do a split, and this is kind of weird. One guy that's going to play a lot of Sammy Anderson, who I've seen getting a lot of PBUs, sticking his hand in places, taking the ball out after the receiver catches it. And then Raekwon Atkins, man, that dude, he plays with some aggressiveness, and he belongs there. And I think he's going to have a really, really good UC career, even if he doesn't play a lot this year as a young guy. He has the moxie and the attitude to lead this defense, and he might be a little undersized, but he goes with the best of them right now during camp.
Fair enough. I guess the last question I have for you before we shut this thing down for tonight, your first impressions of Camp Higher Ground now that you've been there and spent some time there in good old West Harrison, Indiana.
Yeah, my mom actually worked there when she was a teenager a lot. I don't think UC was there at the time. I think it was before UC was there, but it's awesome. I think the resources there as they continue to build it up is the most impressive thing. When I got there the first day, I don't think I said this on the last one, but I went up to Chad and I was like, I wonder what their workout setup is. And he just took me in like the barn, and they got racks set up, like 8 to 10 squat racks. You can do whatever you want in this open space. And then the field with the red Sea Paul logo is just like chef's kiss. Like that is a beautiful logo. And then the food is really good. The Bearcat, I had to avoid the Bearcat bar because I'm on a low carb diet.
You don't get a cheat day, a cheat meal?
It'd be every day. I'm there every day. Every day.
It's camp. It's fine. You can get off the low carb diet for camp and then go back on. It's fine.
No, I just do whatever vegetable they have and then whatever protein they have.
Just do one extra set of reps on all your exercises.
No, dude, the amount of sugar in the lemon lime Gatorade, I'm getting my fair share of unhealthy food because that stuff is good.
The tap Gatorade is fire.
It's so good. It's ridiculously good. It should be illegal how much sugar is in that. But yeah, just the amount of access there. Like I'm very grateful to UC that they let the media just go to the full practice. Like you get to stand up for 2 hours, look at everything. I think a lot of programs wouldn't even think about doing that. Me coming from one of them, and I guess it's kind of you do it until you get burned. So I guess the media has done a really good job of not taking advantage of that and burning UC on some stuff. But I'm just really grateful, and as long as I'm here, I just want to get as much Camp Higher Ground as I can, and then hopefully they're there for the whole, like I think 3-4 weeks instead of I think it's going to be 2 weeks. Yeah, the Satterfield's doing it this year.
Well, Keegan, you appreciate UC, and we appreciate you, sir.
Thank you,
you've been
sir.
Grinding, and it's been a lot of good reads. And a lot of good interviews as well. So just keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir.
That's going to wrap it up. That was another episode of the Bearcat Journal Nightcap. Potentially, we'll record another one tomorrow night as there is practice at Camp Higher Ground, open to the media tomorrow. And then, of course, you will hear from us on Saturday night after the scrimmage at Nippert Stadium. So stay tuned on the YouTube channel. Check out Keegan's work on BearcatJournal.com for those articles on Sauce Gardner and Nick Van Exel. We'll see you next time. See ya!